Hey all, welcome back to the show. I'm Sean, and this week I did something I've been wanting to do for a long time now. I painted my truck. Now, you know, my white crew cab long bed F350. The thing has been a beast. I think last video, one of the last videos I talked about, I wanted to put HEI ignition in, and I wanted to do some changes to it. I've had this truck for about a year and a half, and it's been a great truck. It took me down to Aftermath. It's been a tow rig for, I've been taking septic tank, on my trailer, and I didn't take it out to Wasteland Weekend because it has a 460 in it, which gets about 6 or 7 miles per gallon. Actually, since I put the HEI ignition in, it gets about 8. So that's pretty awesome. But I love the truck. It's a stick shift. It's a 4-speed. It's a 4x4. It's a dually. It's a crew cab. It's a long bed. What else? It has this amazing bumper on it. I'm sitting on it right now. I'm going to show you it in just a second. But I love this truck. I love everything about it. Now, the only thing I guess I would change maybe is if it had a diesel in it, if it had a 7.3. I've owned two 7.3s before. One was an IDI, which is a 92. It was actually an F Super Duty. If anyone knows their trucks, the Ford trucks, F Super Duty is kind of an F450. Really hard to get insurance for it because people didn't understand what an F Super Duty was. They only made it for a couple years. But anyway, I had that, and I also had a 96 crew cab. It was a short bed. It had the 7.3 Power Stroke. That's when they started putting the turbos in there. Anyway, I'm going on making this a Ford truck show, but the point is, I love this truck. I love everything about it. I wish it was a diesel, and that's probably maybe the only thing. Even though I do like the 460 because I can work on gas engines a lot easier than I can diesel engines. Other than that, I love this truck. So I wanted to do something special for it. This is my baby, so I wanted to do something, pampered a little bit. So I gave it a new paint job, and this is something I've wanted to do for a long time to this thing. It's I like the white kind of, but it was a respray. It probably had been painted a few times, and it wasn't a very good job. I had overspray everywhere. Paint was chipping off, and the fiberglass wheel wells on the back on the dually part were all broken up. One of them had a big hole in it. It was probably about that big. It just cracked all over the place. That happens with those things. They don't last very long, especially, what is this, 32-year-old truck. So I did a lot of fiberglass repair. I used Bondo glass here. It's short-stranded reinforced fiberglass filler. It worked great. So I did that, and I used to be a paint and body man years ago, maybe 20 years ago. I used to do body work. I only did it for a few years, but a lot of those techniques I used back then, I kind of ignored on this truck. And it's not so much that I guess ignored is probably the best way to put it, because I didn't do a lot of things that I knew better, So I wanted to talk about that a little bit here in this episode too. My thing was, this is not a show truck. This is going to be a post-apocalyptic, kind of an overlander. You see a lot of guys do overlanders with like Toyota Tacomas and Jeep, Cherokees and things like that, Grand Cherokees. And people never build an overlander with a giant gas hog like this. You don't want to be stuck out in the middle of nowhere getting 7 miles per gallon. You also don't want something this heavy out there like that. So this isn't going to be something that I build to reach, the Rocky Mountains. This is going to be something local. Take this. We have mountains around here. They call them mountains, but they're actually hills. They're actually kind of big hills. Don't tell the locals. There's some locals now. But overall, my thing with this truck was just to make it a camper. I bought a camper shell for it just last week, and we actually took it out camping. I have 6 acres here, and we took it out to the back of the acreage, and we tried it out with the kids. We did a little camping. My wife and I slept in the back. I planned to build a bed platform with some drawers underneath. I don't have that yet, but so my wife and I slept in the back, and then the kids slept in the back seat of the crew cab. There's a bench seat there. One kid slept up there and the other one slept on the floor. They're 7 and 6, so they fit just fine. But that was a lot of fun, and it really got me excited for what we can use this for beyond tent camping. You know, tent camping is something we've always done. I've always enjoyed it, but I used to have a truck with a camper on it, and I just missed it, you know. So I bought this camper shell. I only got it for 180 bucks, which was something I could not pass up. It's a high-rise one, so it has a little bit more height to it, and it fit perfectly. And, you know, get some lights on here, get a roof rack. I want to get bigger tires, just, you know, a few other things. I don't think I'll get a lift, but we'll see. And then beyond that, I want to make it an overlander like that. Not really a cliche, you know, cookie cutter overlander like you see in a lot of builds, but I want to get it kind of beyond that and also make it post-apocalyptic. You know, I want to throw some rusty stuff on here. I want to combine the flat black with a lot of rusty accents. That's kind of my vision for this. You know, the roof rack I'm going to make custom out of rusty metal. It's going to be rusty. Guard right here. Let me show you this. This grill guard right here, I'm going to sand it down. It's you know, it's not perfect anyway, but I do plan to get that little rustied up. This right here is what I used. This is Raptor liner. I'm not sponsored by Raptor liner. You know, there's nothing like that's going on. This is just something that I did a lot of research. I looked at Line-X and I looked at Rhino and a few other of the cheap ones. You know, I think Duplicolor makes one, and Rust-Oleum. I think everyone has their own version of it. But this Raptor liner, I looked it up and it seemed really good, like great testimonials. You know, I saw a lot of YouTube videos where people were saying this stuff is held up after years and years of use. And people will take hammers to it and it won't chip away, and it won't, you know, it's like a urethane, a really tough urethane bond on there, but it's super easy to use. I can't attest right now to the durability because I literally just put it on 2 days ago, but I can say that it's super easy to put on. It comes with this gun that I did not fully clean yet because I'm not even sure if I'm going to keep it. I think I'm probably going to make it into a sandblaster because it has this media tube and it's just really, you know, there's no filters in between here, nothing, kind of, it's just straight up and through, you know, because it's a liner. But it's a good gun. This is it has a good action on it and everything. Talking like it's a AR-15 or something, but it does have a good action on it. Everything else is really great. I put this on here. It doesn't come with the attachment, the hose attachment, but it works exactly the way you need it to work. And this part right here screws on here. You know, you screw that on. What you do, here's the whole thing. This is how easy it is. So you get this, it's full till about here. You get the hardener, it comes with a little measuring cup. You pour the hardener up to the line in the measuring cup, and then you pour that cup in here, shake it up for 2 minutes, and then screw it onto the gun right here, and you spray, and that's it. It's super easy. And, you know, of course you have to have an air compressor. If you don't have an air compressor, you can actually brush it on. You can pour it into a pan and with the hardener and everything, and you can brush it on. But I have a compressor, and I like the sprayed look a lot better anyway. So I recommend it. I mean, I think it was great. Now, I had to use, here's my only problem with it. This doesn't go a long way. This is probably a panel. This is maybe a door. So on this thing right here, I ended up using 10 bottles, and these are 24 fluid ounces. So that's a lot of money. It was probably about $300 total for the 10. And that's only because I bought packs of 4. And I bought 2 4-packs, and then I bought a 2-pack. And I actually, funny story, I bought the 2 4-packs, and then I was about 3/4 of the way done with this, and I said, I'm not going to be able to, I had 1 bottle left. I said, I'm not going to be able to finish this on this. So I literally, with gloves on and my respirator and everything, I got on my computer and I ordered 2 more bottles on Amazon. So I had to wait 2 days to finish this thing. But it wasn't a big deal. You know, this stuff, I've kept it in my garage here, and it just, it flashes over in about an hour to the touch. And then they say in about 2 to 3 days, you can have light duty, you know, where you can kind of hit it, I guess. I mean, it's a bed liner. So if you want to put stuff on your bed, you can put light stuff in your bed after 2 or 3 days. But after 5 to 7 days is when they say that you can do heavy duty, you know, throw stuff in the back of your truck, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not, you know, like I said, 2 or 3 days ago, I finished it up. So I'm really happy with it. I think that it's definitely something that I will do to other vehicles. That little Geo card over there, I might, once I strip everything down off that, I might go ahead and Raptor-line it, you know, and just make it a tough little off-road fun toy, you know. I was just going to paint it black or something, or not paint it at all. Who cares? But this Raptor liner is pretty tough stuff. It literally puts a shell on the outside of your vehicle. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about why I'm doing this. You know, I mentioned the camping thing. Camping is a big thing to me. I love it. Just got back from Wasteland Weekend, you know, camping out in the desert. Tons of fun, of course. But around here, it's a lot different. You know, we camp in the hills and we camp in the forests and things like that. And it's a lot of fun. And that's what I plan to take this to campgrounds and maybe a little off-road and do some things just with the family, nothing too dangerous. So this is not a show truck. You know, when I mentioned that I used to paint cars for a living, and the things that I didn't do with this in regards to being a professional paint and body guy is I taped stuff off, but I didn't, well, I'm still kind of a perfectionist, so I still had to tape right along the edge, and I had to do the best job I could in that regard. But there's a lot of things that I should have done, like take the lights off. I should have taken these headlights off, the tail lights off. It's a lot easier because then you can paint inside the wells, the light wells, but I just taped them up. I didn't worry about the door jambs, really. I did the edges of the door jambs. I opened them up and kind of did the edge, but I actually did that with tractor paint. I have some Velspar black tractor paint that I actually used it on septic tank when I first changed it over from blue to black. So I used that on the door jambs because I didn't want it to be like a thick, you know, the Raptor liner inside there and like mess with the way the door shut. So I just did the black tractor paint on there. And so I didn't do the complete door jambs though. I did, let me show you, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Now I'm in my garage, it's raining outside. So that's why I'm doing this video, because there's nothing else I can do, but you can see I painted, oh, the lighting is horrible, I'm sorry. But I painted just the edges and then I left, you know, the white on the inside. Who cares, right? It's good enough. Same with here. Painted the edges just enough so that when you shut the door, you don't see any white shining through, you know. And let me show you just kind of what this, you see that? Here's kind of a close-up of what that Raptor liner looks like. This is some tough stuff. It also does a little bit of sound deadening. What else does it do? I mean, it toughens up your paint. You throw stuff at it and it's not really gonna damage anything. This is where I did all the body repair on this. This thing was cracked up pretty bad, and I repaired some big holes and cracks and everything. And then one thing I did learn pertaining to that is there were holes. There were a lot of chips in the paint, and there were, especially over here, again, you're not gonna be able to see this very well, but on this side of the fenders, there were holes, not all the way through, but holes in the paint so that it was chipped up. And I didn't even sand, I mean, I scuffed it, but I didn't sand it down all the way. And the reason for that is because this stuff covered it. It just, if you have holes, little chips and everything in your paint, you don't have to worry about making that all completely smooth like you would with a regular paint job. And that is another point about the difference between doing this and a regular paint job where you'd have to add a base coat and then a clear coat layer after that. You don't have to worry about that. This covers all the imperfections up, and that's perfect for this truck, absolutely perfect. But one thing I do want to mention that I did wrong, and I did cut a corner, is I put on some cheap tape. First I had some good 3M blue painter's tape, and I put it on the edges. I did all around, you know, all around the edges here. I actually painted over the chrome on this. But I did all the edges with the blue tape, and then I ran out. So I had to run to the hardware store. And around here, the hardware stores, you know, I live kind of in the middle of nowhere, so a hardware store is literally a mom and pop corner store, which charges way more money than you would find at like Walmart or something like that. So, you know, a little roll of painter's tape is going to be about $11. And I said, well, no. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get some cheap stuff, some cheap white masking tape, because all I had to do was put the newspaper, you know, to cover the rest of the windows, and then tape the newspaper onto the blue tape. You know what I mean? So I didn't think it'd be a big deal. Well, it was. Once I came to take it off, I should have known better, but you know, when I was taking it off, that it just stuck all here. You can see this kind of residue right here was just everywhere, and I had to scrape it off with a razor, and it was not fun. But you know, I knew better, and I tried to cut corners. So my point through all this is to not cut corners. Get quality tape. You will thank yourself later. You can use newspaper. I use newspaper to cover the windows. It's not so bad, but if you really want to do it right, you can get the brown masking paper, because it comes off better. It doesn't have problems. You know, when you're tearing all the paper off, you kind of want it all to come off at once. Newspaper will come off in pieces, you know, when it's stuck to the tape and everything. It's just a little inconvenience, but it's not a huge deal. For me, I'd rather just use newspaper, but tape is where you want to invest wisely. So let's take a little bit of a walk around here and take a look at this thing. Now, again, it's raining. You might be able to even hear it. So I don't have the door open back there, but I wanted to show you guys just how tight of a fit this is, and kind of show you a little bit more about some of the features on this truck and some of my plans with this truck. So let's start here at the front. This is the bumper guard, brush guard, I guess you could call it. And I love this thing. I absolutely love it. It's huge, it's heavy, and it has this old winch on it. Now this is a winch, guys, not a wench. If I see another ad where someone says 10,000 pound wench included, that's a totally different thing. This is a winch, and this is a wench. Okay, so anyway, we got that out of the way. This is an old winch, and it has no cable, anything like that. I did hook a remote up to it, and it does work a little bit. It kind of grinds a little bit, but it's there. And I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to throw on maybe, you know, a Harbor Freight special, a Badlands winch or something like that, because it actually mounts a little backwards. I would have to mount it on here and then pull the cable through here, but it's not a big deal. It'll be a lot smaller too than taking up all that space. But it's already got the battery cables for it, which I might replace too. I don't know, but it already has all that set up, so it's a cool setup for it once I get a new one on there. It also has brackets for lights right here on both sides. I will definitely utilize that. Get some nice old school round lights right here. I think that'd look cool. I'm not a fan of LEDs. I'm a fan of LEDs for everyday use. I'm not a fan of LED light bars. And I think the only reason I'm not is because everyone does it. You know, it's kind of overdone. All right, some other things I wanted to show you. You can see some of the problems with this. I love this Raptor liner, but you can see how it's streaky up there. This is actually one of my last things I did on here when I did it with the new bottles that I bought additionally. So when I brought in the new bottles, I just threw that on there, and what I should have done is go back this way over everything, because it's really noticeable when you compare it to the old job. This is actually where I started, went around the truck, and then ended up here. So I should have gone back over, but I ran out of material. Not a huge deal though. This is under garage lighting. You know, once you get it out in the sun, it doesn't look that bad. This dent right here, I'm not worried about. People might be saying, why didn't you just pound that out before you painted it? Well, I could have done that, but I'm not worried about it. This thing is going to get more dents. You know, I love this thing to death, which means I use it, you know. You can also see here again in the garage, which you can't see outside for some reason. You can see kind of the difference. There's a kind of a flatter, grayer looking right there, and then there's the darker right here. A lot of that is not the Raptor liner's fault. It's the fault of me for when I was done painting the door jambs and everything with the tractor paint, I kind of went back over here and I figured I would spray some of that tractor paint on here to see what it would look like. And I didn't notice a difference because I'm looking at it right now. With my naked eye, I can't tell. But when I look at here in the camera, it looks horrible. And it's just weird. It's a weird thing with the, you know, the way the camera picks up these imperfections. So I didn't see that before. What I might do is go back over the entire thing, but it'd mean I'd have to tape everything off again. I might go over the entire thing with the tractor paint because this Raptor paint is paintable. The liner is paintable. So I might go back over it with a flatter Valspar tractor paint just to get it more of a flat color, because this does have a little bit of a satiny sheen to it, and then also to even stuff out like that. But it's not a priority for me. Again, this is a wasteland truck. I'm not really worried about it. I even did the mirrors. These were all chrome, and all I did was I sanded it down really well with I think 200 grit, and then I used this right here, which is a adhesion promoter. And this, what this does is it helps the bed liner stick better on the paint. I did scuff everything down. I mean, it took me forever to scuff everything down, but I got every little nook and cranny scuffed down. But I sprayed that adhesion promoter on to just absolutely make sure that the paint is going to stick, because you don't want to have to do all this over again. Believe me. I mean, it took a couple days. It wasn't that impossible, but on a truck this big, it's a big job. I also have stuff called Bulldog, which is a different brand of adhesion promoter. That's stuff that we used when I used to paint cars. It's a really, really good product. The brand name is Bulldog, so I recommend that as well. So I went by, I painted these. I painted the handles, but I taped around the buttons because I didn't want those to get clogged up in there. I taped these up. This one actually, that was a bad paint job there, or tape job there, but again, it's not a huge deal to me. This isn't a Jaguar, you know, it's not a big deal. And what I might do is in some of the spots where it missed, oh, this is getting blurry. It's so dark in here, this camera is not focusing correctly, but there are some spots on here, like right here. This is actually overspray from the people who painted the truck white. So I might go through and just get some paint, just kind of hand do that. But again, that's the perfectionist in me getting a little bit too crazy with this when it's a tow rig, it's a overlander, it's a wasteland vehicle, you know. So I shouldn't really worry about all that stuff. And you know, a lot of this might even be covered with rusty accessories, bits and bobs of rust. So we'll see how that goes. This cap right here, I absolutely love. I described, you know, before how I got it, of course, and how much I paid for it and all that good stuff. But I love it. I love it. It's so, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Now, you're not going to be able to hear me because the rain is so loud out there. But you'll be able to see. Oh, hi, Dusty. What are you doing? Are you camera shy? What are you doing? Okay. This is I even bedlined the edges here. The only thing I taped off was the window, the glass itself. Oh, look, there's more of that effing tape residue. Anyway, so in here, this is the inside. It's a little dirty in here. I should probably spray it out and clean it up in there. But this is what it looks like inside here. I plan to do, like I said, a platform for a bed. A queen size bed will fit in here. This is a 6x8 bed. So I plan to do queen size bed and drawers underneath the platform. Here's the other side. I have the doors still open to let the door jambs dry a little bit. But you can see more of the Raptor liner and just kind of covers over the screws. Really great job. Again, there's some more dents that I didn't fix, because who cares? So there you have it. There's the new truck, the new post-apocalyptic overlander project. Stage 1 was getting the truck, stage 2 was the cap, and stage 3 was the Raptor liner. Yeah. So a lot more to go. You know, I don't know. There's a lot of things. And once I get this thing, you know, in kind of a direction that I know I want to go, which I think I'm there. You know, I think I at least am pointed in the right direction right now with this thing. But once I get in that direction, I'd like to start thinking of a name for it. You know, I don't know. I like to name my vehicles. I do take suggestions. Most of the time I don't listen to them, but you know, if you have a suggestion for the name of this thing, you know, throw it in the comments and let me know. Another thing I wanted to say is something I never say in any of my videos, and I wish I did, but social media. Make sure you follow me if you want to see kind of behind the scenes pictures and more, you know, between making videos. I do post a lot on Instagram, and it's Blackfinger_garage. And I have a link at the end of the videos usually, but I'll put one. I need to be better about this, but I need to put it in the description of the video as well. And then there's also Facebook, Blackfinger Garage. I think it's one word on there. I'll put a link to it. And you know, one thing I would be curious to know about, if you want to share it on Facebook or Instagram, is your experiences with bedlining a truck, whether it's been one of the other brands or Raptor liner or any of those. I want to know how you like it, you know, especially if you've done it a few years ago and you have experience with the longevity and the durability of it. I want to know if this was a good choice. And be sure to like and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more of this truck as I progress, you know, as this project goes on. Once I start getting these things, these more accessories on here that I talk about. I'm really bad about bringing the camera out when I'm out here in my garage doing stuff. You know, I'll be just on a roll, which is why there's not a lot of film of me actually painting this thing, because when I have gloves on and my respirator and my hands are, you know, full of hardener and, you know, all that good stuff, I don't want to have to bring out the camera. So what I usually do is I'll take pictures when I'm done. I'm trying to get better about that. I'm trying to get better about turning on the camera and filming when I'm doing little things here and there, and try to do more frequent videos. So that's my goal. So if you subscribe, you can check out more of what I'm doing here with this vehicle, the Geo-Kart, septic tank, little mini nuke, the go-kart, and anything else that comes into my brain. So I'm losing my voice. I will see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.